Factoring scene 1, action.
All right. You are going to learn how to do the distributive property backwards. The answer you get will give you the question. All right? Last night you found the greatest common factor of two terms, 4x squared and negative 3x. What is the greatest common factor?
The greatest one.
What do they have in common?
It'd be
X is the only thing they have in common. Here it is.
Oh yay.
Shh, I don't need any talking in between. See that? They have X in common. That's it. So we're going to take that X and put it outside the parentheses. Now, the only way to get 4x squared back is to write what's missing from 4x squared. 4 times x squared is x times what?
4.
4. That gives me 4x. Not enough. 4x. Stop. 4x times x, 4x squared. Always do a mental check.
Yes.
Okay, now how do I get back to negative 3x?
3.
Minus 3. Now let's use the distributive property. X times 4x is 4x squared. We're good. X times negative 3, negative 3x. That is called factoring out the greatest common factor. This is the easiest part of it. Okay, let's do several of those before we continue. Negative 6x minus 10. Let's make it plus 10. If your leading coefficient, negative 6, is negative, we're going to pull out a negative no matter what. Now, what is the greatest common factor of 6x and 10? 2. But we're going to pull out a negative 2 only because the leading coefficient can't be negative inside the parentheses. Okay? Can't. So what do we get in here?
3x.
3x
Minus 5.
minus 5. Not plus 5, because negative times positive is negative 6x. Negative times negative is positive 10. If you do a mental check before you continue, you will find yourself making 100 less mistakes. Always do the distributive property when you're done. This is going to get way more complicated, so just hang in there. Let's do one more easy one. Negative 12x minus 8x squared. Caution. Order first. Is the order correct?
No.
You gotta fix it. Negative 8x squared, negative 12x. I'm gonna do it in case you forget to do the order in a minute, okay? Just in case you forget. And you're gonna forget a lot until you get the hang of it. But the first thing you're gonna check is order. The next thing you're gonna check is greatest common factor. What is the greatest common factor? Now we have a leading coefficient that's negative, so that's out of here.
4.
4,
X.
4x. They both have an x, and they both have a 4.
Plus.
What's the matter? Oh,
Supposed to put the 4 on the
yeah. I got ahead of myself.
Yes.
Now, what goes here? 2x. Now this is why I pulled the negative out. Otherwise I'd have a negative here, and we're not allowed to have that.
Why do you have 4? Oh, no.
Because I want
Yeah.
negative 8x squared.
Yeah.
And we
Plus what?
3.
Plus 3.
Plus 3.
Negative 4x times 3 is negative 12x. That's factored correctly.
Yay.
Now let's go over here and say, oh, I forgot to pull out the, I forgot to put it in order. I'll show you how to fix it if you forget to put it in order. We're still going to pull out negative 4x. In this case, we get 3 plus or minus
2.
2x. And then all you have to do is remember to rewrite it now in the correct order. It doesn't matter when you do it, just as long as you do it. I'm telling you, you're going to use this for 4 years. Every year in math, you have to factor. What's greatest common factor? 1.
1.
If the greatest common factor is 1, you're done. It's factored. Okay? Can't do anything with it. Let's make it x. All right. I want you to look at this as 2 terms. This one and this one. X times x plus 3 and negative 5. Do you see anything in common?
No.
The middle term.
Oh, yeah, the middle, sorry.
Do you not see this in common?
No, I saw it.
All right. You see they both have an x plus 3? That's the greatest common factor. Now we're going to make a binomial times a binomial. What did I forget to write down? This is up there.
The x
X.
and the negative 5.
This is equal to this. I'll prove it to you. This is x squared plus 3x minus 5x minus 15. Add like terms. X squared minus 2x minus 15. Okay? Now this one, we're going to FOIL. X squared plus 3x minus 5x minus 15. X squared minus 5x minus 15.
Okay.
They're the same answer.
It's supposed to be minus 2.
Yeah, minus 2x.
Oh, duh. You get the Jolly Rancher because you had your hand up. Okay. This is completely factored. This is what you have to learn how to do in Chapter 8 to go from here to there. And that gets rough if you don't know how to do today's lesson, okay? And today's lesson is going to be all day today, all day tomorrow, and Mr. Rising, I hate to tell you this, but the test has been postponed till after break. Yeah, wait, what?
Wait, when's break?
Well, we have a 3-day weekend next week.
It's like President's Day or something.
President's Day.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Okay.
Negative 5, x plus 2, negative x, x plus 2. What is the greatest common factor?
X plus 2.
X plus 2. Now watch what happens. Now what's left over is not only in the wrong order, but after we do put it in order, we have a leading coefficient that's negative and we're not allowed. How can I fix that?
Make it a fraction?
Make what a fraction?
I don't know.
I'm going to do it over here.
Could you make it?
Put a minus in between it.
Could you make it?
I got to get it out of there.
Can you make it x plus 5?
You can make it x plus 5, but it's not equal to x plus 5.
X minus 2.
It's equal to the opposite of x plus 5. You pull out a negative 1.
All right.
No, just
So what I just did was change this to this. The problem is kids will do this. And what's wrong with the way that looks? It looks like subtraction, doesn't it? Make sure the negative goes out front, no matter what. It's not a subtraction problem. Okay, let's do another one like that. If you have a leading coefficient in your binomial that's negative, or trinomial, but you're not ready for that, it has to come out. Here's an example. Negative x squared plus x minus 4. I want the negative out of there, I would rewrite it as opposite of x squared, negative x, positive 4. These are equal. This is what you have to do when you're factoring. It has to go away. So, what's the greatest common factor here?
X plus 7.
X plus 7. Now when you write this, you have an issue with that. Pull it out of there. Now you don't change this. This is good. And what does this become? 2x plus 5.
So you just move the negative.
You have to put it somewhere. It's times negative 1, but you don't put it in the middle. You just put it out here. Yeah, 2 times 3 times 5 is equal to 2 times 5 times 3. The order doesn't matter. Because if you put a negative here, it looks like subtraction. Now, some kids say, well, why can't I just do this? Well, you kind of can, but that's not simplified. Multiplying by negative 1 just makes this whole expression negative. Okay? All right. Well, I'm glad you're paying attention now, because you weren't. You get to answer this question.
Oh, dang.
What is the greatest common factor, Bryce? See, Dad? He wasn't watching. Oh, yeah. His dad watches my videos. You don't know.
I know it.
We did 3 of these, and you didn't watch any of them.
X plus 3.
X plus 3. What's left over? Negative x. Negative 2. We got to fix it.
Get rid of
Put the
them
negative
negatives in front.
Take that negative out of there. Put it in the front. It always goes in the front.
Wouldn't it be?
What will it be?
Oh, I don't know. X plus 2.
X plus 2.
Yeah, but since that.
Oh, that would confuse me.
No, let's keep going. Is it done?
I thought it
All I
was.
basically did, okay, let me throw in a little step in here. X plus 3, pulled out a negative 1, x plus 2. I pulled out a negative, so there's no negative there.
I know, but wouldn't
And
that,
then I put the negative 1 in the front as a negative.
does it pull out both negatives?
No, there's no negative here. You don't pull anything out of here.
You got 1 minute.
Never.
Okay? Wow. All right, now that you know that a binomial can be a greatest common factor, oh boy.
You want me to stop it?
How many minutes?
Like 1, like less 30 seconds.
Stop.
Stop and then start.